So the NBA playoffs are finally here, starting today. And man, I cannot wait. Now, I will say before we start things off, I was a little bit wrong with my play-in prediction. I thought the Kings would defeat the Pelicans with or without Zion. They didn't have Zion, and the Pelicans still won the game in pretty convincing fashion. So I was definitely wrong there. But the rest of these playoff picks, I'm gonna be right on. Hopefully, that's the goal at least. So I don't want to take too long. So let's go ahead and get things started off. We're gonna start in the Eastern Conference with the 1 versus the 8 seed. You have the Boston Celtics taking on the Miami Heat again. Now, the Heat have been somewhat of the boogeyman to the Boston Celtics in recent years. Every time they play them in the conference finals, we already know how that series ends up turning out. We've seen how it turned out last season, but without Jimmy Butler, I think this is going to be a different year for Boston. I think they have retooled. I think they are a better team and a better roster than they were in previous seasons. So in this game, or in this series rather, I do think Boston will come out on top. I have the Celtics taking this one in 6 games, maybe even 5. It could be a little bit shorter, but I think Boston convincingly wins this series. Although the Heat look pretty good without Jimmy Butler, I just do not see it sustaining long term against a team like Boston. You are going to need Jimmy Butler. He provides so much more than just scoring, defensively, leadership, and you lose that for some time. We don't know if he will be able to come back in this series, but if he is not fully healthy and he's not the Jimmy Butler that we expect, I think this could be maybe in 5, but out of respect, I'm going to say 6 games for Boston, and they're going to move on to the next round. As for the 2-7 matchup, we have the New York Knicks taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. Another matchup, once again, that has injuries with it, right, when it comes to Joel Embiid. Now, he is playing, but Joel Embiid did not look healthy. And if Joel Embiid is not full strength, I think it could be some problems for the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, I already know. You could be saying, yo, DLloyd, what about the Knicks? They may not have Randall. And yes, that is true. But I don't think that's going to hamper them as much. In fact, I think Randall kind of puts like a soft cap in the potential of the New York Knicks. Not saying he is bad for the Knicks, but I think the Knicks have proven that they can win without Julius Randle. So I don't think the injury there is as bad as the Philadelphia 76ers, because the Sixers, they are going to need Joel Embiid to be healthy. If he is not healthy, I don't think Nicholas Batum will come out and save them every single time like they did in the play-in tournament. I think things could get a little rough for Philly. So with that said, I do think this will be a rather easier matchup. I know it's crazy to say that, but I am going to go with the New York Knicks taking this one in 6. Yes, I thought about 5, but we're going to say 6. Give some respect to Philly. They will have a couple of games they do show up, but the Knicks are going to take care of business. I know everybody was waiting and they'd rather play the Knicks instead of Boston in round 1, but I still think the Knicks get it done and they'll move on as well. So now where things get very, very interesting, the 3-6 matchup, the Milwaukee Bucks taking on the Indiana Pacers. And I think this is going to be interesting because of the injury to Giannis. I think that is going to be big for Milwaukee. Now, Milwaukee, not a strong defensive team. Indiana, not a strong defensive team. So both teams kind of have that disadvantage going for them, but it cancels each other out. But the deciding factor is going to be Dame versus Halliburton. Who's going to show up in that matchup? Now, Damian Lillard has not looked like the same Dame that we are used to seeing from Portland. Now, he did say that, yes, he is happy in Milwaukee, but some off-the-court issues have been bogging him down mentally, and that's probably why we have not been seeing the same Damian Lillard. Now, we do know he is capable of showing up in big-time games. He has done it in the past, but will he do it this series? In my opinion, he will definitely need to if they're going to get out of this series, even if Giannis does come back in this series. I don't know if he'll be 100% healthy right away. So for that, I'm going to say Halliburton does have a good series. I do think they will show up and show out in Indy, and I think the Indiana Pacers will win this game and win this series rather in 7 games. So that is kind of my first, I guess, upset when it comes to seeding, right? Pacers, 7 games, taking out the Milwaukee Bucks. And then the final matchup in the Eastern Conference, you have the Cleveland Cavaliers against the Orlando Magic. Now, Cleveland has been an up and down team this year. I think they should be a little bit better than the record suggests, right? But injuries have definitely played a role. But for Cleveland, I think they may be a little 1-2 dimensional in this matchup. We already know what happens for Cleveland. Give the ball to Donovan Mitchell. Pretty much everybody else get out of the way. And really, besides Darius Garland, there's really not much else in terms of consistency in that offense. And I think that is going to play a major role, especially against a great defensive team like Orlando. Now, I know Orlando, they struggle scoring as well, and they definitely cannot shoot, as they are one of the lower ranked shooting teams in the NBA. But I think Paolo steps up. I think they get enough buckets with their defensive capabilities, with the one-dimensional offense that Cleveland has. I think Orlando gets it done, and they're gonna win this series, and I think it's gonna be a pretty convincing one. So I'm gonna say Orlando in 5 games. I know it's a shocker. Orlando in 5, in my opinion. All right, so now on to the Western Conference, where things definitely get very interesting, but it's not going to be interesting with the first matchup. The 1-seeded Oklahoma City Thunder taking on the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, I already thought New Orleans wasn't going to get to this point, so maybe I am underestimating New Orleans. They played a really good game Friday night, but I think OKC, they are the 1 seed for the reason. They have, in my opinion, the MVP in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for a reason, in terms of he is going to do what he needs to do. He is going to show out. I don't think he is going to have a bad series at all. And I do know the weakness of the Thunder is really the interior defense, right? In terms of some guys get in there, they could bully OKC a little bit. I don't think the Pelicans will do that, especially without Zion there as well. So I think the Pelicans, great season, great game that they had. I think they're going to fall short in this one. I'm going to say OKC wins this game or wins this series in 5 games. Now on to my favorite matchup, because I am a Lakers fan. I'm going to try to remove all biasness out of my prediction for this one, though. The rematch of the Western Conference Finals last season, the 2-seeded Denver Nuggets against the 7-seed Los Angeles Lakers. Now, this game is going to have some bad blood, regardless of what they say. Everybody's seeming friendly. They sound like they're cool, and this is not, anything bad. It's not a little rivalry, but I hate to break it to you, it is. Now, with that said, I do understand that this is a one-sided rivalry, as the Lakers have struggled to beat Denver in recent seasons. Denver has really had their way when it comes to just matching up with the Lakers, and Jokic has been unstoppable when anybody that you throw at him from the Lakers side. Of course, AD will have the primary responsibility again of trying to match up on him. Can he knock down those tough shots that he did last series? He probably will. But I think the main thing is going to be, can the role players, can KCP hit shots at a high clip? Those are going to be the guys that's going to dictate the series, because although it was a sweep last year, every single game was close. And I think this year the Lakers are simply a better team than they were last season. They are much more healthy this season. Yes, Vanderbilt is going to be a huge loss, and I think that is definitely going to help dictate how this series goes as well, because you lose what he brings defensively. But I do think as a unit, this Lakers team is better. I would not be shocked if the Lakers pull off a crazy upset. But for my official prediction, I'm going to go with Denver winning this series in 6 games. All right, moving on to the 3-6 matchup. You have the Minnesota Timberwolves taking on the Phoenix Suns. Now, this is going to be a pretty good matchup as well. And this is going to be a eye-opening matchup for people that maybe are not too familiar with Minnesota and how good of a team they have been this season. And of course, what's going to happen with Kevin Durant and the big three of Phoenix. They've looked good at points this season. They have looked bad at points this season, but they are ready to roll, and they have been trending upwards as of late. Now, of course, Anthony Edwards, he may have something to say about that. He is a dog. He's going to be ready to go this series, and I think he's going to play that with that grit and the intensity to try to get things done. Can Phoenix get through what they want to get through? Can KD get to the basket and finish at the rim, or is he going to have to settle for jump shots? Those are going to be some of the things that will help dictate the flow of the game, because if they're settling for jump shots, although we know this Phoenix team can shoot, I don't think that will get the job done against this Minnesota team. So I think this is going to be a very good series, something I am excited about, but I'm going to go with Minnesota taking this series in 6 games as well. So ultimately, I think they fall short, Phoenix, and they'll have to recalibrate and figure out what to do, because this offseason, they're in financial troubles. and there's not much they could do about it. So we'll see as Phoenix is pushing all their cards in the middle and saying, let's roll. We got to win it all. I just don't think they get past the first round in Minnesota. All right, and then the final matchup, and I think out of every matchup, just on the court wise, taking my biases out with the Lakers, will be the best series of the entire first round of the playoffs. You have the Los Angeles Clippers with the 4 seed taking on the 5th seeded Dallas Mavericks. Now, this is a series, and you can already tell these two teams are going to go at it. Now, the Clippers have been very, very up and down this season. James Harden has not been playing good basketball as of late, but when the Clippers got Russell Westbrook back, they have played better as a team. How healthy is Kawhi Leonard? We heard some issues with that knee, obviously. Is it going to be healthy enough to go out there and be 90% of Kawhi? We will find out as they get into the games, because generally speaking, with injuries with Kawhi, they end up being worse than what everybody initially thinks. So we will see how healthy he looks. Paul George, is this going to be playoff P? Playoff P? Is he going to be, looking bad? Or is he going to step up and have a great series? Those are some of the unknown questions. For the Dallas Mavericks, they may have the best player on the court in Luka. They have Kyrie, who we know is an elite finisher at the rim, and he's a great closer in basketball games in general. I think ultimately this game will go 7, or this series will go 7 games. And I do think the Mavericks will win. Although the Clippers have home court advantage, that last game will be in LA. I think the Dallas Mavericks are going to finally look good in the playoffs. I think this Kyrie Luka dynamic will work. We have seen it this far. They retooled at the deadline. They got better. I think the Mavericks win this series in 7 games. I think really every matchup in this Western Conference, really besides OKC and the Pelicans, I think it's compelling. It will be good. On the Eastern side, I think really Milwaukee and Indy is going to be a great series. I think the Knicks and Philly will end up being a good series. But those are my favorite series. Those are just my opinions as to what I think is going to happen. I'm sure I'm going to be wrong on quite a few of these, but just my opinions, man. You guys let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Who do you have winning? Who are your surprise teams, your dark horses of the playoffs? Who's going to be major letdowns? Let me know all of that in the comment section below. As usual, hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, please do me a favor. Go ahead and leave this video a like. It helps me out a lot. And subscribe if you haven't already. It's DLloyd. I'm see y'all next time. Peace.